Okay, now that your eardrums are blown, we can start doing this. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks to everybody who's been watching so far and giving comments and stuff. Really appreciate you guys. This week, William went off to the grandparents' house, and so I had a bit of time to do the old razzle dazzle on the keyboard and get a little uh, get a little work done and some features out. I did some work on the game section this time. Um, First thing you may notice is the UI. I have moved everything around. Uh, if you remember last time, there was this big old fat drawer that came out, and it had these section headers, and you had to click on the header and expanded the content. Um, and so if you wanted to like change the brush size of your brush, you had to go over to this big menu and scroll down and find the brush options and change it there. It's a little clunky. I didn't really like it. Um, and so instead, I kind of did this split thing where top right uh, is your chat, of course. You can do server commands. You can, send secret messages to people, all sorts of stuff in here. Um, to show that off a little bit, we can type /help, and we can get all of our commands that we have available to us and their parameters and what they do. And so that's chat. Let's actually do that again to show that when you do receive a message, you are still scroll down at the very bottom. You don't scroll any place weird. This whole element is scrollable. I did think about keeping the input box and this button and the header at the bottom, having it fixed. I didn't do that though because on smaller screens, if this was a fixed element, then this text would just get really small at the top. And if you made that, and if you made it scrollable, it was kind of, wasn't my favorite. So I just made the whole thing scrollable, and then I put messages in between here as they come in. So that's the top half. And then this bottom half right here is a context window. And so depending on what tool you have selected at the bottom, for example, if we go into Paintbrush, boom, we get our options right there. If we close this window because it's in the way or we just don't want to look at it for right now, we get this little handlebar at the bottom that we can click and it'll bring it back up. And we can change all of our options in there. The other tool I've been doing a lot of work on is the add model. We'll get to that in a little bit later. The move key, the move tool for moving around models is, it doesn't need a context because you just click and you just drag. Same with rotate, same with delete, works the same as it always has been. The fog of war, same thing. You have your options here and you can draw fog of war. Next, we have our game location tool that you can see the current game location, and then that'll bring up all the wiki information so that people can see, where we're at. Everybody can see this screen. And then if you're the DM, you can change location. You can, find another wiki page. You can type in here and search. I only have one article right now. It's just this basic, the world one. And you can, of course, set your options and then change location. Moving on. Another thing I did was now you're able to associate models with wiki articles. The models that are associated can be two different formats. You can have a GLB file, or you can have an OBJ file. And if you remember last time, so GLB files are super, they can be super detailed. The one that I found online is this Sweet Kieran one. It's a Chinese mythical dragon. I posted some pictures of this earlier. It's got normal maps so that you can see, you can zoom in here and you can see all these sweet details of. You can't really see anything here, normal map wise, but you can see the shadowing, how there's darker areas, and even on his the antlers are good normal maps. You can see that texture. He's got all this sweet detail. GLB files on the other, or sorry, OBJ files on the other hand, they don't have textures typically, at least the ones that I found. And so that's kind of sad because what if you want to add a color? So here's a good example of one of the models that I have. So I've separated the models and the wiki model information so that if you have a model, for example, a dragon model, you can use it in multiple wiki articles if you want. You have a red dragon, then we also have a blue dragon, and of course they're different colors, but they're the same model, right? Also, what if you have just like, generic models that can't be attached to a wiki article? Like if you just have like a token, or like a like a chair, or like a something like that you don't want to make an article for it. So that's why I've separated them out. Of course, there's a section for some notes. Some of the models that I found, they have to have some legal information with them. And all it pretty much is just, most of these I found are Creative Commons licenses, which means you can use them pretty much any way that you want. You just have to get credit to the original author, and then put source to the model, and then of course a link to the license, so that if someone else downloads this, then they say, oh, this is the license and this is where it originally came from. So this download thing will always be there. So if you do upload models, obviously I don't want to encourage anybody to break the law. Please be careful with what you're downloading and redistributing. Thank you. You'll notice that in these models, there is no color information associated with it. Because, of course, these are, this section, the models, these are generic, right? These can be, applied to in the wiki page, or they can apply to in-game. On the wiki page is where you set that color. So when we edit this guy, boom, here's our color. Gotta wait for him to load in. Everything just freezes up because it's kind of slow. So if we want to change our dragon color, we can change it to anything. Or if you want it to not have a texture, a color texture, you hit that clear button, and it goes back to whatever the original upload texture was, which for OBJs is this gray color, and then for GLBs, it's going to be whatever texture was in the file. For GLBs, you can set the color too. So if, for example, there's like, some status effect that the monster has, you can do that in-game or out of game in the wiki models. If there's like a variant of a monster, you can add a color to him and it'll add that tint. You'll notice that all the highlights, all of the so these little bits, these are specular highlights, and then his shadow maps are still kept, and his normal maps are still kept. So all that information is still in there, but it just adds a color on top of it. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, this is everything that you can do out of game. The reason why you would want to do this is so that when people click on the page for something, they can see the model, and also so that you can attach color, and you can attach information to it before you go in game. So if you want to prep for your game, you can make all these monsters, or make NPCs, and you can attach models to NPCs in here too. And then when you go in game and you want to add that monster or that NPC or that item or whatever it is, all you have to do is just go to add model and then you search for it. And then here it is. And you can see that it comes. There was no color associated with it beforehand. But if we did do our red dragon, you can see that, oh, there's that red color that well, it's like orangey, whatever. That orangey color that we had set earlier in our wiki page. But let's say like you don't want any of that color information or that wiki information. Let me show you what it looks like before. So if we add this red dragon, we can now select him with the select tool. And we can see, oh, here's his wiki page. This is an adult red dragon. Now the name's mixed up, whatever. And here's like any information that we have on him. So that players can see it, so the DM can see it. If we want to change that, we can change it to something else, right? And here's the blue dragon, right? And it keeps his color. If we want to change his color, we can do that too. So now he's like, I don't know, this aquamarine color. So what if you want to just add any old model that you uploaded here? Let's say you have like, we just have this generic dragon one. We just, we need a dragon token for some reason. You can add it without having to attach it to a wiki page. Here, let's move this guy out of the way first. You just select this little toggle, and now you're searching in that models section, and you can see that here's our dragon information. It has no color information about it because it's just a plain old model. It's not the wiki one. And when we select it, we can see there's no wiki information there. If we want to clear out the wiki page, we hit that clear button, and then we hit that set wiki, and then it clears it out, and it goes back to just this regular model to what it was. And this name right here also changes with whatever wiki page it is. So, yeah. So yeah, that's it. Thanks guys, and let me know what you think. Okay, bye-bye.